Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we're looking at the May-June 2017 CAPE Management of Business Unit 1 Paper 1. So the 2017 CAPE MOB Paper 1 Unit 1. And so before we jump into this one, we know what you want you to do. You like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when Learn SKN drops another video. So let's just jump right into this paper with number one. Number one. In which of the following levels of production would bottling water fall? And so you have the primary, secondary, tertiary, and subsistence. And the best answer here is, of course, the secondary sector, because the primary is about the extracting industry, whereas the tertiary is about services, and the secondary is about construction or manufacturing. And so if you have the production of bottling water, that would fall under the secondary. That's where there's some minimal processing going on there. There's some minimal manufacturing going on there. And so the secondary sector would be the best one. Secondary would be the best one for the bottling of water. Number two, the term technological obsolescence refers to technology being, and of course the best answer here, we've seen this one before, the best answer here is A, outdated. When something is obsolete, that means it's no longer up to date, and so the technology is outdated, and so that's why it's A. Number three, trade liberalization may best be described as the B, removal of trading barriers. Again, we've seen this question before. And so we're talking about trade liberalization. That's liberalization meaning, more freedom. So it's free trade in a sense. It's not free movement of capital. It's the removal of trade barriers. So the freedom of trading among the partners. Number four, one feature of a public limited company is that A, the shares are traded on the stock exchange. That's a public limited company. The partnership don't do that. The sole trader don't do that. And the private don't really do it like that. They're not traded on the public stock exchange. So the public company, they are traded on the stock exchange. Number five, A&B Electronics is in the business of providing internet and cellular phone services. In which of the following classification of economic activities is A&B Electronics involved? And so the answer here is tertiary, because they are performing a service. They are performing a service, and most services are found in the tertiary level of production. Number six, which of the following is the lowest in the hierarchy of objectives? And so we have tactical, strategic, corporate, and decisional. And so the question asks, which is the lowest of these three, which is the lowest in the hierarchy of objectives? Even though tactical is not the lowest, that would be operational. Of these three, four, tactical is the lowest in the hierarchy. You have strategic above it and also corporate. And so tactical is the lowest in the hierarchy when you compare it to these options. Number seven, what stage of the decision-making process should follow after a course of action is determined? And so you have evaluation, implementation, problem analysis, formulation of alternative. And so you will realize that in some of the literature, you'll see implementation as a part of the determining the course of action, right? They kind of put them together, but in some other literature they separate them. And so naturally, for me, the next course of action is the implementation. So you figure out what you want to do, so now you have to implement what you want to do, and then you can evaluate and whatnot after. So for me, it's B, the implementation. Number eight, one benefit of multinational corporations to the host country is A, increased foreign exchange earnings. That's to the host country, the country that's housing the multinational. As you have an increased foreign exchange earnings because you're doing business with another entity outside of your country. Number nine, Ms. Clark is concerned that although the new business plan promises that her business will be more profitable, the business would have a negative impact on the community. Which of the following best describes Ms. Clark's concern? And so the best answer is ethical. Right? It's ethical. Let's say even though it is going to be profitable, they would have a negative impact on the community. They never said what the negative impact is per se. For example, let's say that it might cause increase unemployment. That is negative, but that's not illegal. So that's not an illegal issue. That's more ethical in this regard. So the best answer here is B, ethical. Number 10, the benefits which many large firms enjoy over smaller firms are referred to as, and of course that's A, economies of scale. Those are the benefits that companies get as they grow. As your production increases, the advantages that you attain, those are because of economies of scale. Of course, the reverse is true. You can have problems as you grow, and that would be the opposite, which is diseconomies of scale. Number 11, a firm practices ethical behavior when it delays its suppliers in order to improve its liquidity. That's not the answer. Places more emphasis on social responsibilities than profit. No. But the best answer here is C, because a specific batch of products because of flaws in few. Right? So that's the best one when it's a practicing ethical behavior. So C is the best answer there. Number 12, which of the following is an advantage of nationalization to a country? And so nationalization is where the government takes control of a previously privately held company. So the government takes control of that to run it as their own. And so that asks, what's the advantage of that happening? And so they say A, more efficient public sector. And of course we know that is not true, because government is one of the least efficient entities out there. You go to a government place, because they rely on votes and stuff like that, they're not really efficient. Persons go home when they want and things like that, and they're more efficient. B, greater profit to the business. Again, it's a government entity, and as such, profit might not be the motive, because you might want to keep the prices and then people might complain, and it's a government entity, and so you might lose votes on that one, so you try to bring down the price, and so profit is not really guaranteed in that regard. Better regulation of the business, and so it's again government, and some government tend to be maybe a little, how should I put it, that big C word, corruption, and so you might not have better regulated business. D, more emphasis on social development, and so D would be the best answer, because their goal might be to appease society, make it a little bit better for the poor. Whatever the business is, provide whatever at a lower rate so that the poor can benefit, and so D is the best answer for that one. Number 13, John wishes to start a business in different countries. He has no advertising experience but needs quick business success. He also needs readily available source of raw materials. Which of the following types of business is best suited for John? And so the best answer here is of course a franchise, because a franchise is, as I say, a ready-made business. You just go, pay you whatever money you have to pay. They're going to help you establish certain things that they already have in place, the color scheme, recipes, that kind of stuff. It's a ready-made business. And so that's the best answer here, the franchise, because they say you have no advertising experience. Most franchises, their advertising is handled by a bigger entity. You see KFC advertising on TV, that would resonate with KFC anywhere else, because KFC is KFC. You understand? So they would just pay into that pool for advertising, but the campaigns and stuff will be handled by the overall owners of the franchise. Number 14, one benefit of private limited company over a partnership is that C, shareholders have limited liability. That's one of the benefits right there. Limited liability, meaning that you are only liable to lose what you would have invested in that company, as opposed to partnership and sole trade. We have some unlimited liability where people can lose way more than they invested. For a private limited company, it has limited liabilities. Partnership, at least one also partner would be unlimited liability. So that's a disadvantage right there. Number 15, which of the following statements best explains the cost of unemployment to a country? And so we know that unemployment is negative, is bad, and so there's a cost attached to it. And one cost is D, reduced demand for goods and services, because if you're unemployed, we're going to get money from the buy goods and services. And if unemployment increases, that means more and more persons are not able to afford certain things. And so as a company, you're going to reduce your output because demand is falling. And so reduced demand for goods and services will occur because nobody got the money, everybody broke, things brown. So you're going to demand less and less of certain goods. Number 16, which of the following elements comprise a job description? And so the best answer here is C, main task to be performed. Main task to be performed. Number 17, which of the following is a non-financial reward? A non-financial reward. And so we have A, gain sharing, B, job enrichment, C, lump sum bonus, and D, employee stock ownership plan. And so we're talking about money. All of them has something to do with money, except for B, which has to do with your intrinsically motivating factors, such as you feel as though the job, the enrichment of the job is something you seek and something you obtain, and so you feel satisfied with that. So job enrichment is a reward for you that is not financially motivated. Number 18, which of the following statements best describe a feature of a centralized organization? Centralized. And so the best answer here is C, decision making lies within the upper levels of the organization. So it's almost like an autocratic or authoritarian regime, where the state or those in charge, largely in charge, are the ones who make all the decision making. So that is why it's centralized. All of the decision is centralized, central to one core set of persons. Number 19, when authority is assigned to someone in order for them to make decisions, this can best be classified as, and again, this question is a tricky one because some of the years would have delegating right here, but then some would have empowerment. And so the best answer, as I asked for, would be D, empowerment. You empower them to make decisions, empowerment to do certain things. So that's the best answer for this one. Number 20, effective communication is distorted when? This wasn't very popular. I've seen it in a lot of papers before. Effective communication is distorted when C, body language and annotations are not aligned. And again, the example I gave before, where you might be delivering some sobering or some serious news with a smile on your face and a happy-go-lucky attitude, those things don't match up, and so you have a miscommunication there. Number 21, which of the following factors will most likely influence the choice of media used in advertising? And of course, the best answer here is A, costs. You go based on your budget, based on your costs when you're looking at advertising. Now, that's the most likely. That was the thing that would most likely influence your choice, because if they give you just, like I said, social media money, you're going to use social media. But if they give you a big budget to make big billboards, big advertising, big commercial, then you do that. And so cost is the most influential factor here in our view. Number 22, which element of Maslow's hierarchy of needs will an organization be satisfied if it provides its workers with pension plans? And so we have social, security, self-esteem, psychological. And so the best answer here is security, because what? You're talking about security in the sense of when I retire, I'm secured financially. I have some money I can spend. I'm going to get money. I'm secured financially. And so the best answer is security. 23. FedEx Inc. is a multinational corporation with 4 local branches in the Caribbean. The branch manager have been given full control of their respective operations. Which of the following terms best describe the organizational structure referred to above? And so the best answer is decentralized. D, decentralized, because we're saying that the different components have a certain level of autonomy unto themselves, and so they don't have to go back and call back to the head office every minute because they alone can make certain decisions, and so it's decentralized. Number 24, which of the following is least likely to be the objective of an employee appraisal system? And so we have the option here, C, to encourage and support planned changes within the organization. And so that's the least likely, because you're not going to go and have an appraisal of someone, of one of your workers, just to encourage them to support planned changes within the organization, because that might seem a little underhanded. You're appraising me. Of course, you might give me a bad appraisal if I don't support certain things. So that's not one of the aims of an appraisal. For sure, you can recognize future needs of the individual, whether you want to training and things like that. Consider the development of the individual's career. Again, they might see that you are more than what this current position is, and they might promote you. D, identify employees in an organization that have potential for advancement. Again, it highlights these aspects of the employee. 25. The management of a company attempts to increase the scope of a job by broadening and deepening the task undertaken by an employee. The management decision can best be described as, and so you have the options here: job rotation, job analysis, job satisfaction. The best answer is D, job enlargement. Here say it broaden and deepen the task undertaken. So it's enlarging the task. Again, these are some tricky questions because in previous years they will have maybe job enrichment, job enhancement, those other descriptions, and then the STEM would closer resemble one of the other options. But like they said, the best choice and the best one is job enlargement. Number 26, which of the following types of communication is illustrated by the grapevine? And so you heard it through the grapevine, and that's more of a B, informal way of communicating. The grapevine is an informal method of communication. 27, which of the following aspects of a group is least likely to influence the group's cohesiveness? And so the group's name is least likely to, it might, but they say least likely to influence group cohesiveness. The size, of course, can influence how much the group works together, stick together. The goal, people might have different views, different missions for the group, and so the goal can be one that causes least cohesiveness. Diversity, again, they might have some friction because different people, different backgrounds, and so the best answer here is the name. The name is the least likely thing here that would cause some issues. 28, the system approach to management refers to B, the interconnectedness of the individual parts of an organization. The system, so a system. So you're saying the different parts that come together for the overall good of, what in this case, the organization. Look at the computer. It's a system, but you have different interconnected parts. You have the CPU, the GPU, everything. So the hardware, software, all of them come together to make the overall system work. 29. Mary works in a small supermarket. She thinks that the pay is good. While she enjoys the group of friends with whom she works, she's considering leaving because she feels that her work is not appreciated and is not challenging enough. We've seen this again like 3 times before. According to Maslow, which of the following reasons best explains Mary's desire to leave? And so we know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and so we have a whole lot of levels to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so we're looking at C as the best answer because a lot of her lower needs are met in the current job. Social need, security need, that kind of, they are met. But what is not met is her higher order needs are not being met. Alright, so that's the best answer, like the esteem and those kind of things. She's not feeling appreciated and it's not challenging enough, so there's no esteem needs not being met. Her self-actualization is not being met, so it's the higher order needs. Number 30. In the context of a modern organization, the term delayering means, and so some firms have a lot of different layers. You have your subordinates, then you have supervisors, then you have middle management, then halfway management, then top management, a lot of layers. And so delayering means flattening the structure, reducing all of those in-betweens. 31. Which of the following sources of finance is an example of a debt financing for a company? Debt financing. So you go on and borrow money in a sense. And so the best answer is C, debenture issues. So if you issue a debenture, that means that someone going to buy into your company, buy a bond or something. They don't get ownership of the company like if they are buying stocks. Stock would be equity financing because you're becoming part owner of the business. But debenture simply means you pay me some money to help me with my business and I repay you later on with interest, and that's it. Our transaction is over. Retained earnings, it simply means that you're using money that you got from the company to finance certain things. And of course, debt factoring is where you take your debt, bundle it up, sell it to somebody else based on certain securities, to get some financing. Good. So 32, a type of external finance which offers flexibility and the ability to access funds in excess of bank balances is known as, and of course that's B, a bank overdraft. Once you see in excess of funds in the bank account, got to be you overdraft in your account, and so it's B, bank overdraft, an overdraft. 33, which of the following is an internal source of finance for limited companies from within? Sorry, is not. I said a big not there and I still skim over it. Don't make that mistake, please. Not. which of the following is not an internal source of finance for limited companies? And so the answer is D, trade creditors. That's outside. Your suppliers, your trade partners, you have a credit with them, and that's outside. All the others are from within. Sales of assets, that's your asset you're selling. Working capital, that's your the money for the running of the business. And retained profits, that's the money you got from profit that you use to finance certain ventures. And so the best answer is D, trade creditors. 34. Someone whose job involves buying shares on the stock market is called C, a stockbroker. Simple as that one. Number 35. Which of the following table? Refer to the following table, right? So you have your table right here. Receipts from debtors, 46,000. Payments, 43,000. Net receipts, question mark. Balance brought forward, 1,000. Net balance, question mark. The balance brought forward for February 2016 is, and the best answer here is 4,000. 4,000 is the best answer here. So how we get that maths work? So you find your net receipts by, of course, minusing the payments from the receipts. That's net. So this might very well be called gross receipts in a sense, and then you minus the payments and you get your net receipts. And so you end up with 3,000 for this for your net receipts. So you end up with 3,000 for your net receipts. And so you have 3,000 when you minus this, and then you have the balance brought forward, which was 1,000. And if you add the 1,000 to the 3,000, you get the 4,000. So that's where you get D. Alright, so D is 4,000. Good. 36. Which of the following best describes the results of proper management for working capital? Which of the following best describes the results of proper management of working capital? Good. And so the answer is A, improve cash flow. Right? So if you have proper management for your working capital, you're going to have an improved cash flow, meaning the monies are coming in that you need. And so remember they said working capital is the lifeblood of the business. And so if you manage it properly, you're going to have improved cash flow, which can help the business to carry on its daily runnings. Alright, good. 37. Which of the following ratios give a measure of how easily a business could meet its short-term debts or liabilities? So the best answer is B, liquidity, because liquidity shows how quickly you can turn certain assets into cash, and so you need the cash to pay your short-term debts or liabilities. And so the best answer is the liquidity ratio. 38. The main components of a cash flow statement are D, operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. Remember, the cash flow is all about cash in and cash going out. The flow of cash in and the flow of cash out. 39. Edward decides to start a sole proprietorship in automobile repairs. In order to be competitive, he has to invest in the most current technology. Which of the following is the most appropriate source of finance for Edward? And so the best answer here is a bank loan. I mean, he's a sole trader, and so shares are not even dear, because shares is normal for companies. And then you have retained earnings. He hasn't made anything as yet, so he can use the money that he's starting a business. There's no retained earnings. And the venture, that's more of a larger scale operation, more of a business, company level form of investing. And so the best answer is a bank loan. Number 40 refers to the following information. The owner of a company withdrew goods worth 100 for personal use from the company. Which two accounts are required to post this transaction? And you have D, purchase and drawings. That's kind of obvious. Purchase and drawings. 41 refers to the following. So you have your little trade accounts. You have opening stock, sales, purchases, closing stock. The gross profit of the firm is, the answer here is C, 1,000. So 1,000 is the gross profit. And how do we get the gross profit? We worked it out before in previous videos, and so you can always resort to those videos to see how you got the answer for gross profit, because these are repeating questions again. 42. A motor vehicle with a cost price of 20,000 and a scrap value of 4,000 will be used in a business for 4 years. What is the yearly depreciation of the vehicle if the straight line method is used? And so to find this one, all we have to do now is minus the scrap value from the price of the vehicle, which is the 4,000. You take that out from the 20,000, you get 16,000, and then you divide the years, the expected use, by the 16,000. And so it's 4 years. You expected to use the vehicle for 4 years. So 4 into 16 goes 4 times, and so you get 4,000 for this one. So 4,000 is the answer for A, as it relates to the straight line method. 43, a oldie, a returnee. We have the variance here again. And so you have the table showing all the variance, the budgeted versus the actual, and the variance, you have to fill them in. And so the sale revenue variance for Quick Cook Limited is, and so it's B, 3,000, and it's adverse. Why? Look at sales, right? Revenue, 15,000 was budgeted, but the actual was 12,000. That's a difference of 3,000. So when you come on sales now, if the actual is less than the budgeted, you're in trouble. And so that's why it's adverse. It's 3,000 adverse because you want your sales to be on budget or even greater, right? And so 44, overhead costs variance for Quick Cook Limited is A, 500, and it's also adverse. Why is it adverse? Because the actual is greater than the budgeted. And so when you come on cost now, when things are talking about cost now, when the actual is higher, that's a problem. I mean, you underestimated, you didn't budget properly, you're in trouble, and so that is why it is adverse. The last one for this paper refers, 45 refers to the following extract from cash account, Marie's and Cosmetics. And so you have your opening balance 800, this cash sales 2,400, rent 1,000, wages 1,200, telephone 300, and closing balance 700. And then you have 3,200 as the final total here. Which of the following amounts should be posted in the trial balance? And so the answer here is B, 700. 700. Why is it 700? Because the trial balance, we're only posting the closing balance. The closing balance is what we're posting here in the trial balance. Okay, good. So 700 is the answer. Like I said before, the trial balance is all about the closing balances for different accounts, so that you know if your T accounts were done properly. And so you have the closing balance for the cash account, 700, and that's what you're posting. Alright, so that's it for the May-June 2017 MOB Paper 1 Unit 1. And so you know what to do now. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.